Hello everyone and welcome to Stedman Rants. Today I wanted to do a video on my top 5 live and let live wish list for society, as it were. Basically, these are things that I think individuals should be free to choose to do as long as they aren't hurting anyone else and as long as the consequences of their actions don't drag my tax dollars in to support them. And you'll see what I mean as I go along. But basically, these things have taboo assigned to them by a lot of folks, and I think that if they were just legal and reasonably regulated, it would be cool. So anyway, let's dive right in. Number 1, legalizing marijuana. Now, it drives me absolutely bonkers that marijuana is still as illegal as it is federally and across the U.S. I'm not really going to be talking about other countries in this video, but the principles still apply. So anyway, it drives me crazy that weed is still illegal. It doesn't hurt anyone any more than, say, alcohol or cigarettes. In fact, it could be argued that it's much safer than those things. Nobody ODs on weed. It helps lots of people with various issues and diseases and cancer patients going through chemo. It helps them eat. But also just the regular everyday Joe, if they just want to chill out and smoke this plant, then it doesn't hurt anyone. And if the government could just legalize it and reasonably regulate it, we'd get rid of all the crappy consequences of it being illegal. For example, shady back alley drug deals. For example, people getting weed that they don't necessarily know what's in it or how it was grown. It cuts off that source of funding for cartels, and it reduces the power of the black market in general. There are so many more people who can argue marijuana legalization better than me and already have and have done in-depth talks on all sorts of aspects of it. So I'm not going to go much deeper than that. But basically, it doesn't make any sense that it's illegal in the way it is. I totally support not letting kids use it, under 18, whatever, that's fine. Keep it illegal for them. But the fact that we are putting people behind bars for smoking this herb, it's inhumane and it's ridiculous. Number 2 is prostitution. This is another one, kind of like weed, where if it was just legalized, we'd sidestep a lot of the issues people seem to have with it. Whenever you bring up prostitution, people think about, child sex slaves or, sex slaves in general, and people getting abused, mistreated, being forced into it. But if it's a reasonably regulated industry, then I think we'd be able to protect the sex workers, right? We'd be able to keep it on the up and up, and it would be totally fine. And people get really weirded out about sex stuff in general, which is part of it. I'm a very sex positive person. I don't think it should be treated with much more. It shouldn't be given much more weight than like a massage. It's a physical reaction. It makes people feel good. And if one person wants to pay money so that somebody else can make them feel good physically and make them get off, and another person says, yeah, I'll take that money and make you get off, and they're consenting adults and they don't hurt anyone, I don't see how that's not a complete net positive, how that doesn't help the economy, how that doesn't help his, well, or hers, the client's mental health, how it doesn't just make everyone feel better, how the prostitute doesn't just benefit. Keep it safe. If keep kids out of it, obviously, but it should be accepted. It should be accepted in society. I think it's an easy way to give more jobs to women, and people in general. It would be such a huge industry if it wasn't so taboo. So that's another one that drives me nuts. All right, number 3 is going to be a little more far-fetched, I think, for some people, and I probably will have people disagree with me on this, but body modification, including piercings, tattoos, transitioning between genders, and even, there was that story with that lady who had her psychologist like pour drain cleaner in her eyes so she could be blind. In the right society where the people's tax dollars don't have to go towards subsidizing your crappy mistakes, like if you want to make yourself disabled, if you want to amputate a limb unnecessarily, if you want to blind yourself, that's weird. I don't understand that at all, but if you want to do that, great. You get to live with those consequences. It's totally okay for you to ruin your life as long as you don't pull anyone else into it, as long as I don't have to support you financially, as long as you're not screwing with me by screwing with yourself, then I just don't see why I should care. So the same goes for transitioning between genders. There are arguments whether or not it's the most effective way to deal with gender dysphoria and things like that. And I'm not going to get into that here, but I think if you want to surgically alter your body to make yourself look the way you want to look, then that's fine. It's your life. You should own your body. I guess that's kind of the basic principle, is that we should own our own bodies and be able to do what we want with them, and live with the consequences. All right, number 4 is just doing away with nanny state laws, particularly things like seatbelt laws, banning, like New York had that ridiculous thing where they didn't want people to sell sodas over a certain size. And it's kind of the same idea as the body modification thing. If you want to buy cigarettes, smoke them, and they hurt your body, then I don't see why I should care, as long as I don't have to get dragged down by your crappy decisions. As long as it's just free market and individual choice, and you're paying for it, then it just doesn't make any sense why you should have to, or why it's okay to ban things like trans fats, why it's okay to make people wear seatbelts under penalty of law, and all these things. Like a seatbelt law that's enforced by people with guns, and it's basically saying if you don't wear a seatbelt, then it's okay for us to take your money, or take your license away, or put you behind bars if you don't pay that money. And I just don't go that far. I don't think the government has the right to take your money away because you didn't choose to wear a seatbelt. It just seems crazy to me. Maybe I'm missing something there, but on just a basic principle level, I think that you should be able to endanger yourself at your own risk. Number 5, this one's kind of the big one, is freedom of expression. I think that people should be able to make whatever art they want to make, put up posters for things, and not worry about them getting torn down. I think that art can be very controversial, and a lot of puritanical types want to suppress certain kinds of art. What comes to mind, there was that one game, I can't remember the name of the game, but you basically just play this guy, and you go around and kill everyone in the town, and they're just like helpless people. You basically go on this rampage. You may have heard of it. It's like black and white, top down, I think, but it's kind of brutal. Anyway, a lot of people freaked out about that game, But as as long as nobody actually hurts anyone else, as long as nobody's rights are being violated or tax dollars are being spent on this stuff, I don't see why I should care that person X made very egregious or offensive art Y. It just blows my mind that anyone cares about things in art. Another one was the Red Pill documentary. There was that article, Cassie J retweeted it, saying that like the movie physically threatened women's safety, and it just doesn't. No, that's not how it works. Um, People threaten other people's safety with physical violence. Words and art, they are just ideas, and there's a there should be a line drawn between art and people acting on the ideas within that art. And I think the responsibility falls on the individual that takes it too far, not on the art in the first place. So, yeah, that's my wish list for a more fair and just society. I think if those things were all um, legal and just less taboo, and people just didn't care as much about them, and if the legal system was such that people's tax dollars didn't have to go towards subsidizing other people's shitty mistakes, I think we'd live in a better, fairer world, and oppression on the whole would be minimized. So there you go. Please let me know why I'm wrong down below, because I mean, that's why I'm doing this. I really want to talk about ideas and sharpen my sword, as it were. So yeah, thanks for listening. Have a good one. Bye.